Welcome to another video from Gweilo 60. Today we're going to be talking, yes, again about the coronavirus. I started doing videos on the coronavirus because it came up and bit us in the ass last Monday. So on Tuesday, and it's Sunday now, so it's only 5 days ago. On Tuesday, I did a small report. There was 215 people that had confirmed cases here in China, and 3 deaths. Yeah, so we thought that was scary. Okay, well then the next day, on Wednesday, it had jumped to 440 cases, and there was 9 people dead. And yeah, so then I thought, well, maybe we got a problem here. The next day, it had jumped to 550 people, and 17 dead. Yep. Now it's a couple days later on Sunday afternoon, and I was updating this just until I came out to do this video, and now there's 56 people dead, 2,000 cases, and 14,000 people under direct observation that they figure that they might have this coronavirus. That's some pretty serious numbers. 14,000 people, and they say that each person that contracts this coronavirus will give it to 2 to 3 other people. Don't take long for that to balloon out of control, that's for damn sure. Hey, I've noticed that well, I did on the 24th, 3 days ago, I did a video at the wet market showing the type of wet market that this virus came from. And I made note that there was very few people wearing masks at that wet market. And that's 3 days ago. Now, driving around, well, yesterday we went to Walmart, and everybody in Walmart was wearing a mask. Today we come out, and I was saying everybody's wearing a mask, and then this guy comes cruising down the path here on his bicycle with no mask on. That's an anomaly here. Everybody and their dog is wearing masks in Nanning City, so that it's changed. And what changed that is all over the news over the last couple of days. The government and the news agencies have been telling people, wash your hands, wear masks, take care of yourself, stay away from crowds of people, stay away from sick people. If you don't have to go out, don't go out. You know, all of the things that will help stem the tide of this coronavirus. Okay, they've shut down interprovincial buses into Tianjin. I think just yesterday or today. They've shut down all interprovincial buses into Beijing. So there's no mass transit of people into those 2 communities, because they're pretty big areas, right? A lot of people. If it gets in there, then problem. Oh, Shanghai yesterday, day before yesterday, had its first death, and that's a major metropolis area. There's all of the tours, like in the Lunar New Year, is a mass movement of people, and people go on tours and they travel abroad, and they go to the farms, and they're hanging out with their families, and all of these different things. All of the tour buses that go around China, and there's a lot of them, take my word for it. I was on those until Wei Fang got us booted off in Thailand. We used to do these tours. Anyway, I digress. But all of the tours inside of the country have been shut down. All of the tours that take people overseas from China have been shut down. Anything that leaves the country, the group tours and whatever, have been shut down. They're talking about extending the Chinese New Year holiday for another couple of weeks, so people don't have to pack into trains, planes, buses, whatever, to come home and go to work. Hong Kong has extended the holiday for schools for another 2 weeks till February the 17th, because they don't want the children going back into a crowded area with a lot of other kids. It just doesn't make any sense to them. Okay, and this makes sense, and I think that the bulk of China will follow suit with that here before the kids go back. You know, they're doing whatever, the government is doing whatever it possibly can to try to save, not save, to try to stem the growth of this coronavirus, anything and everything that they can do. In Wuhan, they're building a 1,000-seat or 1,000-bed hospital in a week. They say 6 days or 10 days. I'm not sure which one to believe, but they're going to be building this hospital in about a week. And 1,000 beds. So just think about that. Like, my God, they're doing everything that they possibly can. It's sort of like nailing jello to a wall. It's just about impossible. But as I say, they're doing as the best thing that they can, or the best they can with what they're given. The idea that that you're trying to stop something that has the same transmission rate as a common cold, pretty difficult to do. Countries like the United States, Russia, and France are sending charter jets to Wuhan to get their citizens out of the area. Right now, Wuhan is under a quarantine where people are not going in or out of that city at all. So if the governments like the States and Russia and France don't send a charter for them and take them directly back to their countries, they're not leaving. So it's probably a good thing for those people in Wuhan to have the choice of whether they want to leave or not. I noticed with the Americans though, the charter, if you jump on that charter, you got to pay your own ticket. Good for you, the States. It's you're doing a real good job there. You know it's getting serious when the hospital workers in Wuhan are wearing adult diapers because they can't take time off to go to the bathroom. They're in hazmat suits, so taking a hazmat suit off and putting it back on takes time, and takes more than one person. It's the way it is. And they don't have a lot of the hazmat suits, so they don't want to wreck them by taking them off and putting them on, taking them off, putting them on. So yeah, adult diapers. I thought that was a little strange, but hey, whatever gets the job done, I guess, eh? Not only have they shut down the group tours, they've shut down like Disneyland, yeah, and they've shut down the Forbidden City. They've basically all of the Lunar New Year, Chinese New Year celebrations, the fireworks and all of that stuff that goes off, they shut those down too, just for the fact that it was a big, it draws big crowds, and having in a time where you've got a virus out there, having big crowds together is definitely not something that they want. It would be a breeding ground for the virus. So no, that's just not happening at this point in China either. They, as I say, they're doing what they can, and it's still spreading. It's in Beijing, it's in Shanghai, it's in Shenzhen, it's in Guangzhou, it's in Guangxi province. All but a couple of the provinces in China have a level 1 medical emergency status right now, which is the highest status you can have. And so they're taking this really seriously. They don't want it to spread any more than it possibly can. With, they're putting up the deterrence as they can. The quarantines, building the hospitals, shutting down group tours, shutting down people moving around as much as they possibly can. If it keeps going at the clip it has over the last 5-6 days, I can see a total shutdown of China coming. Yeah, and it's a scary thing, because then Wei Fong and I would be not able to move around. We'd have to stay where we are, and I don't know if they've got enough beer in Nanning to keep me happy. Hey, it can't all be gloom and doom, guys. You gotta have some fun, and it's one of those things that the Chinese government isn't just thinking about their own people; they're thinking about the rest of the world. And I know there's a lot of China haters out there that say, "Oh, they're selfish, this, that, and the other thing." No, they know when to call it, and if it keeps going the way it is, it's not just going to be Hubei province that's going to be on a lockdown. It could be the whole country on a lockdown, just so they can deter the spread of this coronavirus around the world. One of the things that I really thought was good on the news last night is they sent 450 medical professions from the military to Wuhan to assist the doctors and nurses and the medical staff at the hospitals in Wuhan. It's a big help. But that's another thing that you can see where the Chinese government is very serious about stopping this coronavirus, or at least slowing it down so it's not such a big draw in the medical profession here in China. It's one of those things that if they can slow it down, it makes it easier to deal with. Another thing, they say wash your hands, wear masks, and all this other stuff, but I've been reading up on these masks, and well, the medical masks, they don't hug the face good enough to really do anything. If somebody's got a cold or the coronavirus and they're coughing or sneezing, a mask may stop some of it, yes. And the other masks that really hug your face, they're only good for up to 0.3 microns, and or larger particles, where this coronavirus is 0.12 microns. So it's too small to be stopped by the mask. It makes people feel better maybe when they're wearing these masks, but I don't know whether they help or not. Maybe a little bit, and if they help 5, 10, 20%, I guess it's worth it. But I don't know. The idea of washing your hands, staying away from people, all of these other things that I discussed earlier, is probably the best way to curb this. Staying out of crowded buses and airplanes and trains, and because that's just a breeding ground. One guy's got it, they all got it type thing. And the idea that this thing hit right before the Lunar New Year holiday, Chinese New Year, where it's the biggest mass movement of people in the world for that week. It's the perfect storm for spreading this virus, not only around China but around the world, because these people will travel to everywhere in the world over this week or 10-day time period, and everybody wants to go home, everybody wants to see their family and their friends, and if they're infected, they're taking that infection with them. If they're not, good and kudos, but as we've seen, because it's in Singapore, it's in Thailand, it's in the States, it's in all of these places around the world, that obviously a lot of these people were infected, and it seems like the people that are infected like to travel, because with only 2,000 cases, you know what I mean. One of the things I noticed at the wet market the other day is that people are refusing to use cash. Money's dirty. It goes from hand to hand. It can have a virus on it. It can, you know what I mean? They'll throw it and it'll land on meat and they'll pick it up, and it's like cash here in China is dirty. So people are they'll only use WeChat or Alipay to pay for their bills, and the people at the market would rather get WeChat or Alipay too, just for the fact that they don't want to be handling all of this cash from all of these different people. And then there's me. I have no bank account in China right now because my wife closed it out when she took all my money. I still haven't had a serious talk with her about that. So and you need a bank account linked to your WeChat to use WeChat Pay or Alipay or any of that stuff. So I'm still using cash, so I can't go buy anything. So Wei Feng's got to pay for everything, and that's her payback for shut my bank account down, I guess. And there are rumors out there right now on WeChat, different people saying, oh, they're going to shut China down, they're going to do this, they're going to do that. Those are just rumors, and nobody really knows what's coming tomorrow, the next day, and it all depends on if this coronavirus, the numbers start to balloon, and if they do, well, then the Chinese government will do anything that they can to counteract that, and you know, protect the people of China, protect the people of the world. They're scrambling now. They're playing catch up, because how do you nail Jello to the wall? You know, it's one of those scenarios. But they are doing whatever they can. Hospitals shutting down tour companies. You know, oh, and one of the things I've noticed is restaurants are closed. Yes, shopping malls are closed. Everything is basically shut down. Anywhere where there would be a crowd, especially places like restaurants and stuff, they are just they're not open, and they won't be open anytime in the near future. And even if they did open, nobody would go to them. Why? Because they're scared of contracting this coronavirus, and that's basically China-wide. So the economic impact of this coronavirus on the Chinese economy is going to be huge. They're trying to turn China into a consumer-based economy. Well, this is like 10 steps back, because people aren't going out, people aren't buying, they're not going to the stores, they're not going to the restaurants, they're not traveling, they're not hitting the hotels are turning people away because they don't want people in their hotels, they don't want the sickness there. You know, so all of these things that sort of makes the economic motor run here in China, other than your exports and stuff, is basically shut down right now, and there's no idea when it's going to open up again, and it all depends on how this coronavirus is going to impact us in the future here in China. Another one of the problems that this is causing is foreigners on visas. You've got to leave the country sooner or later, because if you come in and you've only got a 60-day time period that you can be in the country, well, and you're on your 45th day and you're from Wuhan and you got to leave, well, and you're under quarantine, what do you do? Or anywhere else in China, if there's a quarantine coming down the tube, what do? You can't leave to go to your closest out of country to turn around and come back. You can't. Well, you're basically hamstrung. So what does that mean? Well, I don't think it means anything. I think the Chinese government will take that into account, that if you overstay your visa because of this virus and quarantines, they'll just take it in stride and say, well, that's just the way it is, and it's not your fault. So if you're a foreigner out there worried about your visa going out of status, don't. It's not a big deal. And for everybody else in China, get ready for a pretty bumpy ride over the next month or two, because the incubation period on this coronavirus is about 14 days, under 14 days. After 14 days, if you don't have it, well, and you could always get it again, you know what I mean? But over the next couple months, it's going to be a bumpy ride. We're not sure what's going to happen, how it's going to sort of play out, and but Wei Feng and I are here for the duration, so hopefully it all works out good for not only us but everybody else out there in China and around the world. And that's another video from Gweilo 60. If you like this video, as always, like, comment, subscribe, push that share button, and thanks for watching. Don't forget to hit your subscribe button again. You know how YouTube is. And don't forget to put a couple bucks in the children's Patreon account. It's for a really good cause. It helps poor rural Chinese children with their education, their home life, all of the things that those little critters need. Thanks for watching. Bye now.